Okay folks, so it's time to start thinking about lunch, and it's quite early to be starting to think about it. It's only 8:15, but because I intend to have a stew and my fire I've already started, it's getting nicely warm over there. By making a stew quite early, I can leave it on the fire, it'll cook slowly and it's less effort, so that's what it's all about. The ingredients I'm using today, it's stuff which I brought with me, and it's basic stew stuff. So carrots, parsnips, leek. I've brought half a swede, which is a little bit spongy and soft, but it'll be all right. A potato, but other very important things like a stock cube and some salt and pepper, which I have harvested from Costco and McDonald's by the look of it. I always stick an extra one in my pocket when I'm doing my shopping or buying things in those places. So, other important things, I always bring a potato peeler or a vegetable peeler with me into the woodland. The importance of making life easy can't be overestimated when you don't have all of your usual facilities with you, and a knife. And I'm going to be cooking my stew in this simple aluminium pot. And as one would expect, the mundane stuff. Oh, and by the way, my chopping board is an old plank of wood which I sanded down, and I'm going to use it for the duration of my week. I'm not going to cut meat on there, I'm just using it for vegetables. At the end of the week, when I've used it, on both sides, it simply goes on the fire. No waste, and it's an old piece of wood which was just hanging around in my shed. Bit of smoke coming from the fire. So there we go. So the important thing to do right now is quite simply to chop up my vegetables and place them in my cooking pot, which I'm sure you don't want to watch. I'm going to speed this up actually, just so that you don't get the mundanity of watching me do this over and over. Okay, that was the vegetables. Now an important ingredient is going to be protein. And because I've been here for a number of days, it's not possible for me to bring fresh meat with me. Well, it is really. I mean, I could have walked to the shops which are within walking distance from where I am. But I'm trying to live an authentic experience out in the woods. So I've man-hauled or carried myself the kit that I need. So I couldn't bring fresh meat, so I've brought beef jerky with the intention of adding that as my protein source today into my beef stew, which is going to be. Of course, it's the ideal thing to carry, if you imagine, because beef jerky is effectively dehydrated beef, and all I'm doing is adding it to the stew. It's going to rehydrate, and it's going to become exactly what I need to add protein to my dinner, to my lunch rather. So, stick that down there. I just want to check that any of these little bits, which are somewhat large, I break down in size because I don't want anything too big in there. I just want it to be nice and deeply enthused within the meal. Let's chop them down a little bit. Some of the larger chunks go a bit further in the stew. Very nice indeed. And it's an ideal product to carry around with you in a situation like this, because of course it's a snack when you need it, but also if you want to cook with it, it has qualities which are valuable to me too when I'm here in the woods. So ideal. And it's good quality beef jerky too, which is what I like. No cheap stuff. So it should work out rather nicely for me. There we go, that'll do. You don't want to get too anal about these things. After all, we are cooking in the woods. So there we go. There is essentially the raw ingredients to my stew. Have a quick look at that. It's looking rather nice, I think you'll agree. Almost looks palatable already. I'm going to add that to that though by adding a stock cube. Now a stock cube, this is a vegetable stock cube, so other than the meat that I've just put in, this would be suitable for a vegetarian. But what I'm doing right now is just adding the stock cube, because the stock cube add seasoning as well as flavouring. Now, there should be plenty of flavour. I'm going to slowly cook this over my fire, so it shouldn't be a problem, but I'm just going to break that up so that it dissolves quite nicely in there. There we go. Already we're looking good. Now all I need is to add the fluid, and it's going to be water. Just add that in. Make sure that my vegetables are all covered and looking rather nice. There we go. Spot on. Look at that. That's going to cook down beautifully. I'm going to keep an eye on it. If the water sort of boils away too quickly, I just add a little bit more, but keep it all looking good. And now it's time to get it on the fire and get it cooking. Right then, so the system of cooking I'm using today is indirect heat. I don't want to put my aluminium pan directly on the fire. So as you can see, the fire is burning very nicely. I've put some nice large logs on there. I'm just going to settle it down a little bit, get it all nice and flat. And there we go, that'll do. And my goal here, just going to put my cooking platform on top. Settle that on top of the fire. That way, the heat of the fire comes up against the bottom of this cast iron cooking platform, and the heat transfers through. I don't get direct heat onto my actual pot, which I'm about to put on, and it gives me a much wider cooking surface as well. So if I want to boil some water, I can put it on another pan on top. Take my handle off there, put my lid on. Lid goes on top just to maximize the transfer of heat, and by using this sort of method I'm able to keep heating or keep fueling the fire underneath by adding logs in when I need to. I get a lot of heat coming off it as well, so it's directing the heat sideways. So if I was sat here at night next to the fire cooking like this, the heat is being pushed outwards and rather than up in the air, so you do get a bit better seated experience around the fire. So now I've just got to leave that do its business, keep an eye on it, come back every so often, check that the water's not boiling down, but just let it do its job, cook away quietly, and let's look forward to lunch. Hello there chaps, welcome back. Lunch is fast approaching. The stew has had a lovely long slow cooking process and it's going to be great. However, when I have stew, I like to have something with a bit of substance with it to make the meal enjoyable. I normally have bread if I'm at home, and there is no reason not to continue that experience here in the woods, because we can make our own bread. It's going to be flat bread, a sort of campfire version of pita bread, but it's very straightforward and easy to achieve. It might be a little bit messy, but we will get there. And in order to prepare this, all I've done in advance is I've brought some flour from home. Now this is ordinary, I think it's wholemeal strong flour for bread, and I've added salt and pepper. I did that at home, I bagged it up with me, that's all that I need, right? Nothing else, flour, a little bit of salt and pepper. And all I need to do is to put, I don't know, depending on how much you want, but I'm going to put a fair bit in there, like so. I don't know, a cupful, one might describe it, no more than that. It will keep, if I make it now and I don't want to eat it all right now, I can keep it. But there we go, sorted. Now, in order to make this into bread, I need just a few other components. One of them is oil of some kind. Now this is olive oil, and actually this is garlic infused olive oil because I'm always up for a little bit of flavour. And all I do is add some of that in there, not a prescribed amount. It's just to add a little bit of emulsifying agent, basically. And water is the other component part. A little bit of water. And as I'm sure you know how these things work, a little bit, or based on the eye, is what I've put in there. No more than that. And I'm just going to put my hand in. And my goal is to prepare a dough. And sometimes I've put too much water in, as I have here. And I just add a little bit more flour. This is why you only put one hand in at a time, so the other hand is available to help out when it comes to adding a bit more flour or whatever you need. There we go. Just get the consistency right. It's pretty straightforward stuff. Get it all in there, a little bit more flour. Obviously the secret is not too much water. Stick it all in there, get it all in a sort of doughy consistency. It's getting there. I just have a little bit more flour. It's all trial and error, this. Get that in there, wind it all up, get it into a nice dough. It's looking good. It's looking good. And as you can see, now I'm left with effectively dough. Now if I added yeast to that, we would have, of course, in essence, bread, right? If that's what we were aiming to achieve. Now in order to make my flatbreads with my dough, I'm just going to roll these out, and I've got my improvised it was a chopping board earlier, now it is a bread board or a rolling board, and I have a stick that I've cut from a tree, fresh stick, taken the bark off it, processed it. It's a rolling pin. Yeah, we improvise when we're out in nature. So what I need to do, just grab, now this is where it's going to get a bit messy, grab some of this stuff here. So there we go, a little bit of kneading, and what I've got now is a ball of dough, which basically I just need to turn into some small flat pitters, in essence. So let's get myself a ball, put it on my rolling board, and let's get this show on the road. Nobody said this was easy, and it wasn't messy. Okay, so as you can see, it's all coming together rather nicely now. Stew is lovely and cooked, and my flatbreads are just in the final stages of cooking for me. So in a minute we'll be sitting down to a lovely luncheon. Well then, I think it's time for a spot of lunch. So let's get the stew off there. Let us get our flatbreads fully cooked, looking fantastic, I have to say. Hope they taste as good. These over here. There we go. Serve up. And then we will see if our efforts have been worthwhile. The smell kind of tells me that it has been. Just got to find the beef, the good bits. And of course I don't have to eat this all at once. The beauty of a stew is it gets better the longer you leave it between dining sessions. So I think what I'll simply do is eat what I need right now, pop it back on there, and have it later. That's the wonder, is it not, of camping outdoors or living outdoors? You don't have anything to worry about. So what does it taste like? So a bit of the beef. Oh, it's very, very warm. And cooked to a T. And the beef is wonderful. That's the beauty of cooking with beef jerky. Just soak it in water, boil it up, and you get a wonderful, soft beef return for your investment. I'm going to look forward to powering through that. I'll try one of my flatbreads. Pretty straightforward way of cooking this. Not much effort involved. Very nice. Very nice. So that's my lunch sorted. Maybe could be dinner as well if if I'm frugal in the way I eat it. I hope you've enjoyed this video showing me just having woodland stew at Oak Camp. If you have, give the video a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more, click the old subscribe button. If you'd like to contribute to the dialogue, leave a message in the comment section. If you'd like to support the channel, you can do so by buying me a coffee or by becoming a patron to the channel, and you will receive additional video content over there with my other patrons whose names you'll see at the end of this video, and the links how to get to all that are in the show notes below. So until the next time, take care, enjoy your outdoor living, and I will see you again very soon. Quick salute and back on with lunch. Take care now.